Hey, good morning. It's 10:53 a.m. It's December 2nd, Tuesday, Tuesday morning. The weather looks okay. It's a little bit gray outside. I don't have a need to go outside of the house today, so it looks like everything's okay. I'm just going to stay in and work on some of my projects. But, what was coming through my mind is just kind of reviewing everything that happened in the last week and how I feel about it and the people that I've addressed in this issue. I do understand that Lisa Hughes was playing an active role in bullying me in the community. I had made it clear that I did not want to have any sort of communication with her, but yet somehow or another, she was given access to, places to where I was going, able to stalk me through other people. Apparently, she was trying to prevent me from being able to spend money that I was able to earn for myself. And I had mentioned before, my sister, Lisa Gordon, had no right to be a part of my employment whatsoever. It seems as though Lisa was trying to make attempts to make me or direct me into the music industry. She was somebody who had a hard time letting go. I'm over the age of 18, and I don't wish to have a relationship with these people. And I've mentioned this several times before in the community. I even went so far to go to the courts to pick up a bunch of restraining orders, not just for the kids of 533, but also for Bruce's family and everything. So I ended up dropping all of this because, I kept thinking, well, they know that I meant business. I took off some time to go to the courthouse to pick up these papers. And I wanted these people to understand that, yes, my peace of mind is important. Yes, my goals and my need to make sure that I secure my future are important. Please leave me alone. Okay. But they continue to do it. And a lot of it has to do with my Lisa Hughes's inability to have self control. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to overweight women. Overweight women have a lot of struggles, a lot of demons. Okay. And this is not me trying to point it out. It's just that this Lisa knew that she could recruit other women who were just as, emotionally unfulfilled as she was to bully me in this situation. And I do not forgive it. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that people look at my research as having a lot of weight. I brought a lot of things to the public's attention, such as the cloning ops, the issues relating to Siobhan Ellis, the disregard for employment laws in this community, as well as Christian abuse, people using Christianity as an excuse to enact evil and bad things. Okay, the intuitive message I'm getting right now is that instant death to who could think of harming me or my son. So I understand that. I had made it very clear that my sister, Lisa Gordon, also known as Lisa Hughes, was somebody I was saying goodbye to. So, what exactly do I believe that something, this issue that happened at Valley Strong Credit Union had something to do with Lisa in an indirect way? I have reasons to believe it. Why do I believe it? Because Lisa has always been somebody who struggled with just letting go. When I moved here to Bakersfield, I thought I made it very clear. There was no jobs available in the Antelope Valley. And I personally think maybe she was blocking those opportunities for me. This is where I'm talking about stalking in communities, stalking in the workplace. And I know it has a lot to do with my father's apparition, but I think it needs to be it needs to be communicated. My father's spirit does not have any sort of connection emotionally to Lisa Hughes. He has it spiritually disconnected from the family. Why? Because he feels as though these people did not have the right heart condition, and this is something that he has communicated to me via telepathically. He does not approve of what my sister or Lisa Gordon has become. So there is no reason for you to make any special accommodations for her. Apparently there was a tension in the realm of heaven as well as in the earth, because a lot of people, I have been through historically somebody who has taken the blame for other people's shortcomings. This is including people who have used my works, my writings, and replaced them as or passed them off as their own. This includes many of the religious leaders who were real popular in the beginning of the century. C.B. Braganza was a man who, or a human, I should say, a human being that suffered at the hands of organized religion when he himself was a righteous man. So the intuitive message I'm getting right now is that I have every right to spend what I need to spend. And of course I do, okay? But my sister, Lisa, or my former sister, or whatever, did a lot of stuff as well as working with other people like Alita, Mary Landucci, okay? Now, whether Lisa is my adoptive sister sibling or my real my blood sibling, I am over the age of 18 and I do not have any sort of connection with her. Okay, so I let my son know that if he needs to take these people to court, he has every right to. He knows that good and well that my sister must have at some point involved him in some of these discussions. Why? Because my sister was hell-bent on making sure that I never had support, and she even wanted to include my son, okay? So this is what I'm talking about when it comes to overweight people. They are demonic to the core. They are demonic to the core. Okay, she would actually bring this sort of negative, I'm going to call it demonic influence, into my home via use of my son. Okay, and if that meant that my son was supposed to be somehow cheated in his paycheck, meaning not even having full access to his funds, then she was willing to abuse him in that way to get her point across. This is why I'm telling you, I don't want anything to do with these sort of people. Okay, and so I'm hoping that my sister Lisa Gordon has either committed suicide or she's in jail. Okay, I'm done with her. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that people do understand that my background. My background is that I was going to become a CPA. That's what I was supposed to be doing. Okay, that's what I was working on when I was working at Murray Family Farms. I was going to, get everything wrapped up, and that was my direction that I was going into. Unfortunately, this did not happen. Okay, after leaving Murray Family Farms, I was bounced around. I noticed that I was getting jobs that were beneath my skill level. Okay, I would say flourishing art was beneath my skill level. Okay, I previously to working my other job before I was working at Murray Family Farms, I was working at a place called Organized Sports, and before that, I was working at KERO. Okay, so now what I'm saying is that I'm not snubbing any sort of job. A job is a job, okay? But obviously I was going in a certain direction, and I felt as though I needed to continue in that direction in order, because I realized I was getting older. I need to start making some long-term decisions, okay? This is the tragedy of being a victim of human trafficking. I had no desire to be a part of a network, regardless of who was involved in it. I knew even when I was on good terms with my Lisa, and I will throw Rashawn and Tanya into this, along with their spouses. Meaning, before I knew that I was adopted, I would see them every once in a while, like on a Christmas thing or whatever. It never occurred to me to ever have them be a major part of my adult life. So the fact that these people were able to traffic me in this community is unforgivable. I don't forgive it. Okay, and I understand the abuse that comes behind this. So how is it that somebody could accommodate these people who have done nothing but abuse me? The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that my spiritual philosophy is powerful, and I am correct. Many people find me powerful and they enjoy my preaching. The other message I'm getting is that death will come to those who try to attempt to harm me and my son. And the reason why, it is not because I'm sitting here trying to make it happen. It is by divine right. The intuitive message is that I have every right to purchase things that I want to do. My sister was trying to prevent me from having money. Okay, and so what she was doing was she tried to shut down my phone bill. So this is why she prevented my son from paying my phone bill, which he had every right to. Okay, and the message I'm getting right now is that yes, I killed them through mind work. It is justified. Okay, and they took my son off of direct. See, what my sister is, Lisa is, okay, is a very evil person. Okay, not only does she want to oppress me by preventing me from working, and I have every right to pay for my own stuff, pay for my own roof over my head, pay for my own things. I don't want to rely on my son, okay? But she is willing to make my son suffer in order for her to feel good about herself. This is why I'm saying she is evil and she deserves the death penalty. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is that something about I possess divine truth, because what I'm saying is correct. Okay, my sister was not somebody who knew how to take care of herself, meaning she did not know how to go out and get, a better job without using some form of manipulation, without using some sort of bullying tactics. Okay, so she got to go there with a lot of overweight women who were just as unqualified as she was. Okay, and the reason why I say unqualified, look at what these people have caused. Okay, I have been out of work consistently. I'm getting mobbed out of jobs. I'm running into people who I would prefer not to run into in the workplace. I deal with stalking in the workplace. Now I've been out of work for a long time. They threw me out of the work sector. Then they trafficked me into having to get things like food stamps, and they were trying to just take away those as well. Okay, so then they didn't want me to spend any money, so then they sat there and manipulated my son's paycheck by preventing him from getting his direct deposit. They were trying to create, yes, they were willing to destroy my only relationship that I have with my son. Okay, this is how evil these people are. So I want my sister held account. I mean, Lisa. I want Lisa Gordon held accountable. She either blows her brains out or she gets arrested. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that I am free to live my life. Of course, I should be. Okay, but see, I want this to be an example for other people. People who are, for example, I gave the example of, employers that have a hard time, being able to stay out of personal friend type relationships, or yeah, friend or coworkers. You know what I'm talking about? Like, for example, I gave the example of a woman who may have known her boss and her husband since high school, and they ended up getting married, and now the boss is friends with her husband, but now her relationship has turned sour, and because she's dealing with domestic violence and abuse, and now she needs to be able to get away. Now she finds herself in a situation where her boss could be siding with her husband, right? And now he's putting steps in place for her to prevent her from finding other jobs, other opportunities. So these people are in a position to leave this woman vulnerable to all kinds of abuse. Okay, and this is what I'm saying is, like, stalking is something that is a very common thing that's done in workplaces, and it needs to stop. Okay, and this is how it gets done. This is how people turn a blind eye to it. Just like people, and I'm not trying to pick on Angelo Zanino, okay, but this is exactly what he allowed to happen. Okay, he might think that Rashawn and Lisa are whatever, because these people might say certain things to him. They might flatter him with certain things or whatever. So he's going to focus on the relationship that he has with them. But my relationship with these children are absolutely torturous, and they have sat here and destroyed my home. Okay, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out, how am I going to get back to, how am I going to stand on my feet again? How am I going to be able to make it? And then people, what I hate about the community and their ignorance is that I'm sitting here trying to fight for my life, and people are sitting here focusing on me and a relationship with Vladimir Putin. And this is what I'm telling you, okay? I am telling you the truth. Okay, when you are someone like myself who has absolutely no one, I do not believe in relying on anybody, including Vladimir Putin. And it's not that I don't find him attractive. It's not any of those sort of things. It's that people can change their mind. So what happens if Vladimir Putin does whatever, or he flakes out, or whatever? I still have to be responsible for me. So I absolutely hate people who sit here and get in my way, or try to prioritize things like love and relationships over a career. Absolutely not. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that my management skills are recognized and appreciated. They are looked upon as revolutionary. Yes, I do have the right to survive. Okay? And see, a lot of people think, well, she's just a woman, she should go be focused on getting married. When you are somebody who has no support system, it is the most stupid thing to do, to think that you're going to latch onto a man, because that man, if he ends up abusing you, you have nowhere to go and no support system. Okay, I am all by myself, and I do not need or appreciate anybody thinking that they have the right to make decisions for me. And I hate you for it. I fucking hate you for it. Okay, this is not a joke. This is what I'm talking about. This is why sexual harassment is wrong. This is why your stupid, over fixation with people's bodies, or talking, or assuming that they want this, and this, or trying to, direct them into certain places where they don't need to go. Okay, when women, or anybody for that matter, is looking for a job, they're looking for a job. We don't want to hear any of your drama or get wrapped up into your stupid, competition games. I have a life to protect, and that is mine. Okay, and like I said, what happens with Vladimir Putin happens with Vladimir Putin. I'm glad that he's around, but at the same time, I'm worried about my future. Okay, and no, I'm not relying on Vladimir Putin for anything. I mean, I think it's wonderful, but like I said, it's stupid to think that. Okay, and see, one of the things that what made me disgusted with people like my sister Lisa is like Lisa basically forced Jeff into marrying her. Okay, she ended up getting pregnant, right? And she sat there and basically moved herself into his house and became a burden to him. Okay, so he's like, well, I don't want to, seem like an asshole. That is my kid. So guess he had to sit there and take care of that kid. Now I understand when I was pregnant, I wasn't sitting here trying to beg people to take care of me, okay? So, I would say Lisa pretty much ended up getting pregnant and keep her husband every single time. Okay? She always ended up turning up getting pregnant so that he wouldn't dump her. Deep down inside he wanted to dump her a long time ago. Okay? So I understand women like her are always going to sit here and use things like, oh, I'm pregnant, now you can't leave me. They always use these sort of things. And yes, they are low enough to actually bring human life into the existence for their selfish behavior. Okay, that means that doesn't necessarily mean that they're willing to give these kids love, but they're at least going to use this boy baby to keep this man in line, to keep control over him, and that is wrong. Okay, I never asked anything from anybody. I've always made it on my own. Okay, the intuitive message I'm getting right now is that people do realize I do not want to be a singer. I also get the intuitive message that there's a lot of women who are committing suicide who were a part of this. Okay, and like I said, this right here proves that these people were not competent in their job. It proves that they're not. Okay, because if they really did understand how to, work within specific professional guidelines, they would have never gotten involved with this. Okay, the sexual harassment issue of it, they knew they had watched my videos. I talked about stalking all this time. They knew, everybody in this community knows that I want nothing to do with the Gordon family. But what did they do? They accommodated the Gordon families and the Gordon kids, the kids of 533. And why did they do that? What was their common link? Okay, because a lot of these fat women hate themselves, and they were willing to sit here and do something that low just because they hate themselves. Because God knows I didn't deserve it. Everybody knows that I was a part of an experiment. Okay, that the church used as an excuse. So no, this is not holy, and neither is their action of doing what they're doing. They were just evil, period, plain and simple. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that people know that I'm look upon me as an eccentric person. I am eccentric. Okay, this is who I am. I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, and no, I do not want to be in a clique with Mary Landucci. I don't care about fitting in with Alita. I don't care about any of these people at all. Not even in the slightest, okay? I'm just sick and tired. I can't tell you how sorry I am that I got sucked into this stupid network. Okay? It's incompetent. It's disgusting. I mean, it's like I can't believe that my life has been affected in this manner just by being associated with people that I didn't want to be associated with. Okay? I'm very angry about it. And so, like I said, I am somebody, I need to work. I am not sitting here focusing and thinking about this person or this person. I need to work. I need a job. That's all I care about at the moment, okay? Everything else is on the back burner, and it's difficult for people to understand this. The message I'm getting right now is that people do recognize the fact that I am holy, and I revealed the human trafficking, and I have reversed the government shutdown. Also, yes, many of these women know that they're guilty, and they do not have a future, so they might as well commit suicide. Goodbye to them. The other message I'm getting right now is that people are recognizing my brand. I am working on my Swan Song Manifesto newsletter, even this morning, okay? So, like I said, it's unfortunate that I have to sit here and relive this issue over again. I was hoping that after the last issue of the Swan Song Manifesto, saying goodbye to these people, that it would be the end. Okay, I don't want to have to deal with it anymore. Okay, I don't want anybody tugging on my son's paycheck. I don't want anybody altering my pay. I don't want to be interrupted by somebody trying to communicate through for them or through them, but through somebody else through stalking. I don't want anything to do with Lisa or or Sean or Tanya or any of their spouses or any of those sort of things. Okay, I came to find out that I was adopted, and I'm very, very much traumatized by these people who are deliberately trying to financially exploit me, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. And there are stupid people in this community that was willing to help them, including people that I suspect would be the people at Valley Strong Credit Union and possibly Evil Bit. Okay, because if they're laundering money, they could very well sit there and say, "Oh, this check got returned," but that's not the case. It actually ended up in Lisa's pocket. See, I don't trust anybody anymore. Okay, because I understand how human trafficking works, and the very fact that everything that these people do sends off red flags to me. The first red flag I had was when my son didn't pay my phone bill. Okay, I was not comfortable with that. I was not, and I'm not sitting here trying to rely on my son's income. He knows I'm not working. He knows that there's a group of people that have been causing me problems in the workplace. So I have no other choice but to sit here and ask my son for these sort of funds, and I don't feel good about it. But I also know that when I was working at BT Trucking and making a lot of money, he knows good and well that I paid for his rent, I paid for his utilities, I paid for a lot of stuff for him free of charge, okay, because he's my son. So he should not have any problems with sitting here helping me out at this moment, because I remember tallying up what he owes me on a statement each month, and he owes me thousands. Okay, so get off of it, and it's none of your business. Okay, and so when I think about, people like my sister that can come in, or any sort of family member that can come into a community and have access, because people do not know better. They don't understand, people's privacy or the need to have privacy, or within a company, the boss is stupid enough to carry out stalking activities, as well as blacklisting and everything that goes along with it, because they are stupid and allow themselves to get involved with what they call personal or family type relationships or friend relationships. Okay, I see. All throughout my lives, I've always had to worry just about me, and that's one of the reasons, probably another reason why I never wanted to get married. Okay, and I understand what their definition of marriage is. They literally send people to you that you don't want anything to do with, and you end up marrying that person. Yeah, absolutely no, I don't. Okay, the definition of marriage in California is two consenting adults being witnessed by whatever, and that's what marriage is. Okay, so you don't just force people into marriage, and I would say that people with their social pressure of trying to get other people or focusing on other people's relationship, sometimes people get pressured into marriages where they shouldn't be pressured into. So this is one of the reasons why, and for someone who, like myself, who I know I can only rely on myself, I tell people to stay the hell out of my business. Stay the fuck out of my business. Don't ever sit here and try to pry into my personal life, and I will hate you for it. So, like I said, whatever happens between Vladimir Putin and I, that happens between Vladimir Putin and I. I'm not going to let anyone pressure me into it. There's a lot of things that are very complex between Vladimir Putin and I, okay? Because number one, he lives over there, I live over here, okay? And then not only that, I still have trust issues. Okay, I still have other issues that I need to. So stay the hell out of my relationships and my business. Okay, this is the reason why this stuff is not marital status and stuff like that is supposed to be protected. I shouldn't have to sit here and worry about this sort of stuff. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that yes, my soul tribe is assisting with the investigation. I'm trying to figure out what it is that they want to know. What could I help them with, to speed it up based on what I know intuitively. Now, from what I understand, like I said, the reason why some of these women are angry with me is because they must have known that Vladimir Putin knew who I was before all of this, okay? And I had come to realize that I have been viewed for quite a long time, possibly going back to this time a little after Murray Family Farms. And then also I come to understand throughout the course of time that I come with a legacy, meaning that me and my father's apparition has been following each other for quite some time. So that right there already gave me a lot of attention. And then I think people were sitting here spying on, talking about me, creating gossip about me. And then we had a lot of these women who, along with my sister Lisa, decided to bully me up, and they were trying to destroy my life and force me into suicide. The reason why they were doing this, mainly because they were jealous because of Vladimir Putin. Okay, and like I said, this is no offense to anybody, but and this is the truth. Okay, when you are someone like me, okay, and then like I said, I know that when I say this, I want Vladimir Putin to know that I do like him. Okay, And I really want him to know that. But you got to understand, when you're someone like me, you cannot sit here and put that in the forefront, or the most be that make that be the most important thing in your life. The reason why is because I'm single and I need to take care of myself. Okay? I need shelter. I need to be safe. Okay? I need to be safe. And for people to sit here and cause me problems relating to my employment, and trying to direct my attention into a romance that could or could not work out or whatever, it's a waste of my time and I resent it. Stay out of my personal life, please. Okay, this is why I'm talking about it, and this is why I hate these stupid women, because they're overly fixated on Vladimir Putin, while I'm sitting here. I need to work. I need to be able to retire. And see, I personally feel as though Selena and Lisa were trying to have me put to death because they were trying to destroy everything that I had. Okay, and they were jealous. Okay, I'm sick and tired of having to deal with my siblings. Okay, and no, I do not want to ever involve people into my personal life or my dating life or anything like this. Why? Because I do not believe in letting outside pressure formulate my life in any way. Why? Because I would have to live with the result of what people could force on me, and I don't want to do that. Why? Because I'm already living on the edge, meaning I live by myself, meaning I only have me to count on. Most of the people that have come in through my life because of the church indoctrination have been dishonest and people that I cannot trust. Okay, so the same thing applies to everybody else. I can't take those chances. So people really don't know what I have to deal with. So since you don't know, stay the hell out of my business. Okay, the message that's I'm giving right now is that Vladimir Putin knows that I'm his friend. Vladimir Putin also knows, I think it's really important, that just because I have to prioritize things like work does not mean that you're not handsome or striking or breathtaking or anything like that. It is just the way that it is. Okay, the intuitive message I'm getting right now is that people do realize that I have to take care of this. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And it's always been this way. I've only had me to rely on. And no, I am not going to believe in just getting married. Getting married for someone like me would be my biggest mistake, because that man could have me chained down in a basement and I would have absolutely no support, because I do not trust things like the police department or anyone else. So no, no. Okay, so this is why I'm trying to get people to understand sexual harassment, stalking, people who mix business with their friends and all this other stuff. They're a nightmare to deal with. They are an absolute nightmare. They're the worst professional people. They're not professional. They should get out of the business world. They are causing all kinds of pains and frustrations. The other message I'm getting right now is that I should celebrate because I won the battle. People are losing their jobs, meaning the people who are attacking me and causing all these problems. I'm glad they're losing their jobs, okay? And I hope that they die out in the street. This is not a joke, okay? I will tell you, by me being targeted for the last few years and telling people to leave me alone, they disrupted my peace of mind. They've caused me all kinds of problems, and it was completely unwarranted. I'm glad these women are committing suicide, and apparently nobody seems to care. No, and I would say that if these women died and they ended up leaving their kids behind, then the kids are actually in a better place. Why? Because their parents were only going to sit here and raise them to be like them. So good, and if your wife ended up dying in this because she did all of this sort of stuff, good, go out and find yourself someone better. Okay, there's no reason to sit here and have to suffer with people who are that wicked in your home. Okay, and chances are they probably use the whole idea and this whole story about, oh, I'm pregnant, so many times, and that this is how they keep their men, and a lot of people just resent these women. They resent these women. I know Jeff resented Lisa because Lisa doesn't care about the kind of suffering that she causes on other people. Okay, just like she caused me to suffer for many years, or and then she wanted to create other people to bully me because she was unhappy with herself. And because she wants to attack me, she's willing to attack my son. She's an evil person. Okay, and like I said, I'm telling you from experience, she's not the only wicked person that I know. Okay, and deep down inside, when I'm talking to this community, they know what I'm talking about and they agree. The message that's coming to my mind is many of these women are committing suicide and literally nobody cares. The other message I have is that I am the sole owner of my enterprise. Only I will decide who comes along on the top with me. And that, yes, the people, the celebrities and the politicians are very grateful for my making them aware of who they are. I feel as though the issue is very painful, to be honest with you. I find it to be a very painful issue. Why? Because, I feel as though the church did a lot of things that were very wicked and has caused a lot of problems. This is something that the church needs to be able to acknowledge, and I do get the intuitive message that they do acknowledge it. You know what I mean? A lot of people suffered because of this, and I know that I have. I've suffered because of something beyond my control. This is who I am, meaning I have spiritual gifts. I have spiritual gifts. I have them. You know what I mean? And I don't even have to utilize them. Magic or whatever these sort of energy things just come out and they dance around me. Like I don't have any control over when my father's apparition comes out. I have no control over that whatsoever. And what I hate about the church is the church allowed me to go through life taking the blame and dealing with irrational people when they could have just told me. They could have just said, "Hey, you know what? This is what's going on with you," and told me. But see, what they do is they're setting you up. This is the Nazi plan. The Nazi-ish plan behind it is that is strategically done to set you up to be a target to be bullied. Right? That is why I'm saying that this was actually more of a system of mind control program than it had anything to do with anything divine or Christianity or anything else. Okay, but I will tell you, it did bring out evil in the people, and what I've experienced is completely evil, and this is one of the reasons why I need to move away from it. Okay, the intuitive message I'm getting right now is that yes, the Bible covers many of my incarnations. Yes, Jesus is one of them. I'm somebody who has good morals, and I'm somebody just it's like the same thing repeating over and over and over again. Okay, it's just like basically a person comes along in life who is basically a righteous person, and then they get attacked by people who aren't righteous, who just so happen to say that they are religious. This has been the story of Jesus in all his lives. All his lives. If you look at the Bible, it's like, okay, this is exactly what he would get approached by people who kept thinking that certain things were important, or certain observances were important, or certain rituals are important, or certain foods should be, and they would sit here and pose these questions to Jesus over and over and over again because they wanted him to endorse what they believed. And the same sort of stuff is going on today. Okay, but the thing is, it's like I don't have a problem with what people believe, even though I may not do it myself. Why? Because I just recently talked about the Sabbath. To me, it's like, well, if you observe certain things, set aside time to observe certain things, set aside certain time to acknowledge that there is divinity. That I don't see why that could be a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's always a good thing. But do I believe that you have to do it or you're going to suffer some sort of spiritual consequence if you don't? I can honestly tell you that there's no truth to that. There's no validity to that, because there's people who have made it to the afterlife who didn't even pay attention to the Sabbath, or may not have even known what that is. So it's just people get very attached to their traditions and their beliefs. Okay, but once again, it's like, the absurdity of it is that these people would sit here and try to pose these questions to a being that was holy and in the same situation just like me. How dare you come up to me and sit here and like pose these questions to me when everything about your life shows me that you live it incorrectly, and then you're sitting here trying to like press me to the wall. Okay, I'm tired of these people. So, I do know that there were people who were talking about me being the president of the United States or whatever. Like I said, I don't ever want people to block any right of mine. If I have the ability, if I could have the ability to be the president, and if I was somebody who I felt was going to fit into that role to where my life was going to be enhanced, well, then I would say yes. But if it wasn't, where, like, for example, I'm somebody who has my lifestyle. If somebody said, well, we don't really think the president should have your lifestyle, this is not what we envision, well, then I guess I won't be the president then. You know what I mean? But I will tell you, I do believe that I have strong characteristics, and there is no reason why I shouldn't be the president, even though people look at me as eccentric. You know why? Because I'm no threat to anybody's specific lifestyle. Even though I'm eccentric or different, I would say that this gives me the ability to see an insight or gain insight into other people that I don't necessarily have anything to do with. Just because I'm an observer that stands out from a different perspective. That to me is a very good quality, especially when it comes to leadership. This is one way that you can tell that I would not be biased. You know what I mean? Like, for example, just because I'm black doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and let black people have a pass just because. You know what I mean? Because I know that I've dealt with injustices from black people just as much as I've done. Well, I think I've dealt with more injustice from white people, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just I'm going to be somebody who is impartial, and when it comes to leadership, it is that sort of impartial type leadership that really needs to be done. Because when people lean too much on one way, then it tends to shorten or deprive the rights of other people. For example, in this case where I had dealing with being bullied by a bunch of obese women, the focus would be the obese women, and then the other group of people would be the not obese women. And I know that there's a lot of women who are not obese who are not employed. And why are they not employed? Because the majority of these women work as vigilantes, and they are basically hogging up all of the jobs. So it's like, you deal with certain people and they become partial. Like overweight women are partial to overweight women. Why? Because they don't have to feel bad about themselves. So then they mistreat people like mine. But see, the fact of the matter is that we have the right to be normal weight. We have the right to have normal size clothes. We have the right to not have to buy our clothes at places like Lane Bryant or whatever, or just buy it off the rack. That's what I call it. People like my size, we just buy off the rack. We go to the store, that fits us, we buy it off the rack. Overweight women usually go to a specialty store, or they go get like extra large clothes. That okay, I'm not belittling that. I'm just saying is that we deal with women who want to bully us because we are of normal weight, or some of us might be lower than that. We still have the right to survive. In fact, it is more likely for us to be better producers and better, what do you call it? Not that I want to get married, but we would be better mates, better examples to our offspring as normal sized women than what I'm calling overweight women, because I think, unfortunately, this situation that happened to me is a great example of the evil that exists within them. Okay, I will tell you, overweight women have an evil about them. And that sounds like, oh, you're marking them, you're saying things about them. Okay, well, I just so happens that all the women that were involved in this group just so happened to be overweight. Now, I don't know what Olita looks like right now because I haven't seen her since 2014 or something. I haven't seen her in quite a while, okay? But she could have very well ended up becoming like, Mary Landucci or whatever. But, I will say overweight people, they hate themselves so much that they want to force other people into their lifestyle, okay? And they are willing to make anybody suffer. Just like, how my son is 30 something years old, and I want my son to think about his own life. I want him to think about him having, finding somebody that he wants. I want him to think about building a life that he needs. But we have my selfish sister Lisa that is sitting here trying to prevent him from spending the money that he earns. Okay, when she is not in any position to do this. The message that's coming to my mind is that yes, what I'm saying about women, overweight women, I'm not doing this to take jabs at them or make fun of them, because like I said, I come from a background to where I felt sympathy for my mother. Felt sympathy. I stood up for Lisa many, many times, but I've experienced too many negative things from overweight women. And the feeling that I'm getting, even from this community, they know I'm telling the truth. Okay, because if anybody can sit here and think about times where you tried to improve your life, right? Like I've talked about this one girl, and I've known actually several girls who would sit there and talk about, I want to lose weight, and they're trying to make improvements in their life, but these fat women come and they demand that you eat these things, and if you don't, they'll put pressure on you, like, oh, well, I made all this for you, I did this for you, the guilt trip, or putting people in situations where it's difficult for them to refuse their food. In this case, they even went so far to like try to create some sort of government shutdown. And yes, they're willing to make people suffer. Like I said, when it comes to nutrition, people who have been homeless for long periods of time or whatever, they need nutrients that are going to replenish their body almost immediately. Okay, so they're not going to find that in shitty canned goods. Okay, they're not going to find that in some day old bakery cake that there was donated to them at some sort of shelter that they give out as commodities, or what they call, what do you call it, food banks. Okay, so it's like, these women are social cancers. They should be cut off from the rest of society. You can call it whatever you want to, but I've experienced it. I've lived through it, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? And that's, and like I said, I'm not happy to be the one who mentions it, because I feel as though throughout the years, obesity has become so normalized, unfortunately, that a lot of people have become obese. And see, the way I look at it is that a lot of people have become demonic. Okay, full on demonic. Because I don't believe being obese is normal. It is not normal, not on any level. And not only does it corrupt it corrupts their body, it corrupts their soul. This is why I'm saying that their evil needs to be cast on to everybody. They want everyone to suffer. Like, there's no reason for her to sit here and do that to my son. She's willing to sit here, and my son needs to be able. If you earn a paycheck, you need to feel good about the money that you receive. Okay, so yes, of course, pay your bills, but you should treat yourself to something. You know why? Because if you deprive yourself all the time, you're going to end up feeling like, oh, I'm a slave. Like, I don't, like, none of this matters. Like, it's not good enough, or you're going to feel like life is worthless. What good is life if all you are? That even intensifies the hamster wheel. Get on the hamster wheel, take care of your obligations, and never have any joy at all. So the intuitive message I'm getting right now is that massive amounts of fat women are committing suicide and nobody cares. And I possess the truth. That's the message I'm getting right now. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this message. Hopefully I'll have some more messages for you later. I am going to be working on my newsletter today, and summarizing all this. I want this to be the end of me talking about these issues. I mean, I want to get more into spiritual discussions and information. I don't want to sit here and talk about what's going on with Lisa Hughes and these bullying women and Mary Landucci. I never asked to be a part of this network, and it's just a nightmare. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that I'm supposed to stay mentally in the present moment, and that all is well. Also, people are acknowledging my Gordon's occupational engineering. A lot of these women, yes, they know that they're losing their jobs. A lot of these women are in terrible fear. Why? Because they have convinced people that they were doing their job. They convinced people that they had it under control. They had people convinced that they knew what they were doing. But the fact is, a lot of these people are sitting at the desk doing all kinds of stuff. They do not know how to conduct business, and they're ruining people, and they're ruining commerce, especially here in Bakersfield. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video, and I will be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye-bye.